Greetings and salutations. So, this is going to be a wish list video. And I made this already once and I fleshed out everything and I was very concise and well spoken and direct. And so, this video will probably be an utter disaster. But here we go. So, the construct of this video is it's a wish list video, and the intent of this is to try to kind of sell the developers on an idea, and the idea is to be able to take um, thralls back to icon form. And for example, like this thrall is in a permanent icon form, and when she breaks, like here she just broke my thrall on the Wheel of Pain, and and so my thrall was an icon in the inventory, and then I transferred it over to my inventory and then put it in my hotbar and then placed it in the world. And now that it's in the world, it becomes like a physical item. So what I would like to see implemented into the game is a thrall cage that can be crafted at the artisan bench. And they can use, this is the best part of it, is they don't actually have to create new assets. They can use existing assets to create clever new gameplay mechanics, right? I'm using air quotes. Just imagine air quotes, right? I got my fingers, air quotes. Clever new gameplay mechanics. So what they do is they use that cage that's an Isle of Sipta that's got the thrall in it. And the way that it would work is I would have my follower who's following me, and then I would go up to it. Let's say pretend that this furnace here is that cage. I would go up to it, and then I would press E, and I would just say enslave thrall, right? Enslave thrall, and it would be an item, or they could say whatever they wanted to say. That's not up for me to figure out. And then it would just be an option added to the cheese wheel. And then what it would do is it would put the thrall back. It would put the thrall in the cage, and then I could access the cage. And and maybe as another penalty, it adds a timer to it. So let's say when I enslave cage or enslave thrall, let's say it adds a 2-hour timer to it. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Let's say it just adds a little bit of a timer to it. So I say, right, cheese wheel, and I go, enslave thrall. It adds a 1-hour timer to it, and then you come back later and you see the thrall in the cage. It keeps its inventory the same way that that you would on a PvP server when you would knock out a thrall, somebody else's thrall, and you put them on the Wheel of Pain, and when you break them, they have their inventory. All that stays the same. You go to press E, and then you have an inventory, and you can have all like 15 or 20. You'd have 20 slots here where basically all your thralls are now back in icon form, right? And then this does three things. See, this is the advantage of making a second video, is you've pre-worked out the constructs of these ideas. So it does three things. One is it becomes server management for server load, and it enables for people to get those like mid-range thralls up off the server and back into storage, right? That's number one. Number two, it facilitates server transfer. So let's say I want to do a server transfer and I want to take my thrall with me. Okay, well, I can put it back in the thrall cage and then put it back in my inventory and then just do a server transfer. Okay, and once I did that server transfer, if I wanted to come back, I would have to jump back into that gameplay loop and create that extra stuff, the thrall cage, in order to get my thrall back into icon status. Okay, and so the third thing is the gameplay loop that it creates, because you have to craft the item. So you have to chase down the resources to make the item, and then once you make the item, then you're able to place the item. And then, man, I forgot the whole thing about the gameplay loop, but it drives an additional gameplay loop through the idea of putting your thrall into storage icon form, and then being able to server transfer, do the quests and journeys that you want, putting it back into icon form, doing your server transfer, and then back to your main server, and so forth and so on. So the idea behind this is it's just not, well, I want to put my thrall back into icon form. There's a secondary mechanic behind it, and the beauty about it is those assets already exist in the game, so you don't have to create or spend 6 months developing a cage with a bunch of thralls in it because it already exists. You just make a separate copy and paste, make a separate item, and change the functionality of that item and give it a second name, the thrall cage, that's crafted at the artisan bench, or maybe it's crafted at the blacksmith bench. I don't know. That's not up for me to decide. And it gives more capability and functionality and a different playability set. And I think that would be a big improvement to the game overall, is the ability. And I know this feature set exists on the mods, on the modded realm, where people have mods where you can do that. You can easily, it's super easy to put your thralls back in to, you just like go up to them like this, press E, and then you're like icon form or inventory, and it's like bloop, and it's back in your inventory. And I'm saying add an additional step, and then add like a punishment timer, add a little like 2-hour or 1-hour punishment timer, a cooldown timer, like defiance time. Ooh, that's a good one. Defiance timer. So you like, right, you put E and your thrall, you'll see your thrall like little hot bar cooking down the same way you see it when you have right here, where it's cooking, where you're breaking it. But right here, it's right here, and it's the same thing. It's saying, it's defiance timer. And then once that timer cools down, it's accessible in the inventory. So it goes from, the slot up here down to the inventory down here, and then you can move them and get them up off the world and get them out of the world and trade them, if you want to trade them. Let's say you get a thrall that has all 3 perfect perks. You can now sell that thrall for a premium price, and that actually drives the economy of the game. And so that actually gives more validity to the gold and copper basis of the game, is the for the farming, leveling up, and trading the thralls for whatever you want to trade them for. All right, as always, thanks for watching. I think I flushed out the construct of this idea. Discussion is always welcome, and let me know what you think. All right.